Good evening. Welcome on in. It is a very poor camera here. Hang on a moment. I can fix that in just a jiffy for you. But otherwise, welcome on in. There you go. It is SSRL Division 2 Season 7 in his Round 5 in Mexico, of course, following on from Division 1 as always. And we do have tonight's winner in the commentary box, which I will introduce in just a few moments' time. Of course, next week we'll be in Brazil for our one-shot full qualifying. Of course, we'll talk a bit about that in case you missed the broadcast from last night. But going into Division 2 tonight, well, Pleasant Snake, very comfortable lead. But, of course, look at that consistency from Quincy. Can he go one step up tonight? Really does need to if he wants to try and have a place in this championship going into the halfway point. Energetic just on the outside in third place there. 68 points with Moksha and Salvi rounding out the top 5. Race Chase, Trugster, Kavachka, Toby, and Skid Solo round out your top 10. Then it's Sabran, ADS, Takagino, Kwan, Sorebo before Kwan. Then it's Rendog and Bruiser, with your reserves being Deja David, Rolly, Enzo, Fellow Son, Huge, Sergeant Devsey, Fellow Son, or Mr. Cloudsand, depending on which way you go. And then Crank Jorg, of course, the reserves in their own championship. But how does this reflect on the constructor standings? Well, of course, like Pleasant Snake, Aston Martin with a very comfortable lead there. 15 points to the British-based team, with Mercedes and Ferrari tied for that battle for second, with Williams in fourth. Haas are in fifth there, only just ahead of sixth place Red Bull. Then it's Alpine, Racing Bulls, McLaren, and Kick Saubers rounding out your 10 teams. And well, here you go. Like last night, it was season 4 when we last race here in Mexico for SSRL. Fellow Son taking the win, with David second, third being Energetic, with Herman in fourth, and then fifth being Moksha. But of course, we now know that last race was last night, and Herman taking a really excellent win. And well, that same winner is here with me tonight. F125 Co-op Specialist, World of Tank Specialist, and just an all-round great person in general. Herman the German, good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Dave, and also our lovely folk at home in front of this stream tonight. Looking forward to what is probably going to be very interesting. Not sure about the front. I've heard some stuff already about Snake's pace, probably, that left me and my jar to the bottom of my floor. So, yeah, interested to see how the top 3, especially top 2, go against each other. If Energetic can bounce back, and if the lead is extended at the front by Snake. Quincy on 4 top 2 finishes in a row, but only coming second in those 4. So yeah, there's something to do about it, and rather sooner than later. So yeah, interested to see if this is yet another swing in the Norwegian favor. So yeah.
So it sounds like, from what you're saying, Pleasant Snake is the favourite here to take the pole and potentially the win. Of course, we were just talking about your heroics last night in Mexico, and well, what was this like? What was the track like in wet conditions? Because obviously there is a lot of places where you just have to slow the car right down and then get back on the throttle. So I imagine there is a lot of throttle control throughout the lap.
Yeah, it's very important to keep like the car from spinning out. Like, you don't feel like it from the outside, but if you look at most of these corners, they're very short radius, so they tend to have a lot in common with like a street track of Singapore and Baku, where there's really just a short turn in phase, and then you just need to fully focus on the exit. This is also why currently strategy, because Codemasters has not adjusted to the C2 tire in the skip they made for Kota and this track for this year, this year's Grand Prix. So the current tire situation makes exiting these corners throughout the 36 laps very difficult. We would tend to see a 2-stop in dry conditions, and you really need to have a lot of faith in your throttle application, because if you just have a oversteery car, you're basically ruining all of these exits, like out of turn 3, out of 4 and 5, then into the stadium section, out of the stadium section. Also this bit where we're currently following Moksha, this like mini mini stadium where you have a a big grandstand in front of you that you go by, and then you put yourself into these S sections. Yeah, you really need to be making sure that you line these curbs up, and you obviously ask something from the fronts here, but mostly still the rears, because obviously the engine is in the back and the power is distributed by this. So a lot of it is like, if you have too much differential, too much front wing, your car's going to be bouncing out. You lose basically everything on exit, and you can't get that back even if you're like fast in the corners or even on the straight. So yeah, that is the most important thing. Patience on the throttle, and especially out of the last turn as Moksha is about to start his first flying lap. Very, very busy at the moment, as most of the cars are currently out already on track, distributed in groups, as we can see on the track map. So yeah, looking to keeping these rears alive, especially with tire pressures and tire heat, is gonna be so important, and giving some some love to the fronts, because they are not really pushed by any means of the imagination. So yeah, track like Qatar that is still coming up in the season is way harder on the fronts than this one is for tonight.
I also kind of wanted to ask as well, because obviously with with how qualifying works in the wet, it's a very different approach here, because usually on the dries, you just go out onto the softs, plonk a set on, and then you kind of do your first few laps, and then you just kind of wait for the track to be at its best, and then after a while, and then, like, you know, within the final few minutes, you set your final lap. But with here, we're noticing that the tires, well, they keep the same set on, most drivers, for like 3 or 4 laps here. Can you just kind of explain some of the differences between qualifying in the wet and qualifying in the dry?
Yeah, so the overall sense is that if you look at tire and how they are basically created and manufactured, that the inter tire is actually the softest in the range. This is why it always like is extremely sensible to the heat if it's drying up too fast. So in overall, you kind of preserve tires obviously when it's cooler conditions. This is also why soft tires can last very long in cooler conditions, because they're not overheating that much. And if you like keep temperature in constantly, then you can make them work. This is not the case for the game, because these outside effects are not really put in there into the equation. So usually the tire life, and obviously that is the wear, comes to an end with the dry after, or mostly the soft, because that's a qualifying tire, comes to the end in dry sessions with like 4 laps or more, because you just have too much, you have used them too much, and the heat cycles you put through them is too much. For the inter tire, it's like obviously removing most of the water from the line. That is a very important factor for this year's game especially. So the constant driving on the track makes the line drier, and although the rain is continuing on, we will always have improved conditions for these inters, because they are not really made for removing all of the moist, obviously, from the track. That is usually the job of the full wet tire, although we haven't seen that in a long time in real life. But it's just perfect for these situations where it's a bit of drizzle, then you have cars going over the track for 80 minutes constantly, and that makes the tire work within the session towards the goal of having the best opportunities at the end. And then even 10-15% of wear are not that bad, because you just cleared so much that these small thin lines on the tire just groove basically in, and you don't have these I don't know, overheating cycles. You obviously can do that if there's a mixed weather condition race, but for the qualifying format we have for this season as our gimmick, there's nothing really to add. If you can do the full session on the same tire and you would be good. You just need to get the timing right, and that is obviously something we've been talking in the first few 4 races already, where if you are out at the end and you can get over the line with like 30 seconds or less to go, then you're in a prime position to have the best track conditions, as Moksha almost gets it wrong, into 4, in order to complete a good lap, and then obviously be at the front. Like, even if you are technically the fastest, if you go first here, you are in danger of losing so many positions. And we're looking at the first 15 runners so far, as multiple drivers are getting out of the way of our newest rookie in Demblis, who is from Poland and is about to set his first time, if he keeps that valid through the last really dangerous part, and he's about to cross the line here for the Haas team. And this first time is going to be good enough for P3. Not too bad as a start.
So, Denbliss actually comes from the Nitro Realistic Racing League, which I, of course, commentate on Friday nights over on their channel. And Denbliss is usually one of the quickest drivers here, as we've seen Truckster go to the top now. So that really puts most of the first flying laps out the way. We're just waiting for Bruiser, Rolly, Skid Solo, and then, of course, the third place driver, Energetic, one to look out for. But Denbliss here definitely can make an impression. He really tried to keep it on the podium when he just started racing in that league. He's just trying to find a bit of ground in that Kick Sauber, but here he's in better machinery tonight in that Haas driver. I promise you, Herman, you are going to see a really good drive that might be good enough for the podium, but Bruiser is disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. I didn't really catch where that was, but of course, Pleasant Sake here is blowing the field away by, it was over a second to the fastest time when he first came across the line. That's nearly a second again, so Pleasant Sake is absolutely dominant. Just to give you an idea, he has achieved pole position in 3 out of the 4 races in Division 2, and Pleasant Sake is looking to continue that run, but also one that's really catching my eye to Bran there in 3rd place for now. It's still early doors in qualifying, don't get me wrong, but that's good pace shown from the McLaren early on, and I think he has been on a good run in qualifying, but he's fighting for control in that final corner to get a good run. That might affect him for the first part of his lap, so probably more time to find in the McLaren there. Out of the 3 we are waiting for, well, it would be 4, but of course we all know what happened to Bruiser, beg your pardon. At the moment, with someone else has come across the line as well. Race Chase up into 2nd place. He's been improving his pace throughout Division 1. Looked okay last night, but he's getting into the fringes on the podium. He's going from strength to strength, week to week, as finally Quincy gets a representative in. Rolly now to the line, and that is going to be a jump to 5th place from the driver from the A1881 league, as Moksha then follows in suit as well. So Williams 5th and 6th for now. But Herman, it looks like Pleasant Sake is going to be our pole sitter yet again. He is blowing the field away in every one of qualifying he's done, and he's going to set a new set. He's going to bolt on a new set of intermediates in very soon. I don't really see anything else happening here, to be honest with you. Pleasant Sake seems to have this in the bag.
It's gonna be tough. Like, I don't know if someone who maybe raced yesterday has found something like Race Chase or even Moksha, but it's a tough one to get right. And if, as I said, like there was some info shared with Quincy before, and that he was achieving these times with what seems to be very low wings, which is surprising. There's a collision, I think.
Has there
into
been?
the yeah.
Oh yes,
There
you're right.
is.
You are right.
There was a collision with
Skid Solo,
Quan.
and it's no, not Cerebro. Sorry, it's Quan. Yeah, Quan.
Something happened at the entry into the stadium, but there were no penalties dished out. So maybe just 2 people getting out of the way, and in there, inside of this runoff area there. So yeah, good to go. No major damage, it seems, and no grid penalties. So would consider this. To be
Rolly
settled now already, as Rolly goes to 2nd here. I'm really interested to see if the race is dry, if that really compromises Snake, because there were some very interesting strategies for setup and strategy overall for yesterday. So I think the variables are very high for this track, as now there's a very expensive lawnmower of Quan going over the first 30 turns and then exiting to get out of the way. Brief yellow for that, nothing to worry about. Energetic has just started his next attempt, currently without a time, the only driver to do so at the moment, as multiple drivers are still on laps, as we said before. I think 1 tire change is the most optimal you can do, because a bit of a fresh rubber isn't too bad, but you kind of need to work it still in. So right around the halfway mark, around like 10 to 9 minutes, go in, change tires, refuel correctly, and then just make sure you're just in a sweet spot coming onto the final lap. As I said before, with less than 30 seconds to go would be ideal. Energetic into these now very challenging corners. You can ride these curbs still in the wet. They are not too high, but you just need to make sure that the last right-left chicane is properly lined up. Into the stadium now for the Mercedes driver. Looks good on braking and acceleration. Car is very stable. Goes into 4th very early. Last turn, turn 17. And now he floors it as early as he can. Goes over the line and 2nd position on a 27 flat. What a satisfying lap time from Energetic there.
Absolutely there. Just to give you all an idea, Division 1's fastest time came from the Scotsman of Danger David. That was a 1:24.969. A very nice time, I think you would all agree. And we'll see if that... we'll see if that can be beaten tonight. We're just looking at Tabran right now in the McLaren. He, well, qualified 7th place last week, but unfortunately could not find the top 10. Had to settle for 14th place here. So let's see what the McLaren can do. Currently where he qualified last week, but looks like he's got time to find and is very close to the front runners. Let's see as he fights the car through the final corner. Only 1 position improved, though. That is 6th place for Tabran. But either way, I think he'll be happy with how this is going so far. Demblis, the one to look out for in my humble opinion. 1:28.611, but more time to find there. Currently 12th place. Let's go on board with Demblis for a flyer. This would be usually the 2nd DRS zone if we weren't in the wet conditions. 5 minutes to go for Demblis, so he will get an opportunity at a couple of more flying laps, but Track Evolution will need to go his way. Might even consider going in for a final set of intermediate tyres just to be on the freshest tyre, but Pleasant Snake again, nearly half a second away from our fastest time in Division 1, and every qualifying session he's taken part in has usually been in around that time or beaten it, and he might be on course to beat it again. Yeah, has also in the chat also saying I pretty much guessed that time, but Demblis very nice through the high-speed section between turn 7 to 11, and now slowing it all down for turn 12. Short burst on the throttle from 12 to 13, and now slow it all down, but there's a Red Bull in front of the Haas. That's Trugster on an outlap. He needs to get the throttle down now. Might be a bit of dirty air for the Haas to deal with. Doesn't look like it's really affecting the Haas all that badly, to be honest. Bit of a squiggle on the exit, as expected in these conditions. That's a 1:26.8. That puts the Haas to 2nd place, but still early doors as now Trugster. That was not Trugster, actually. That was somebody else. That was Toby there, ahead of the Haas driver, who's just starting a flying lap now.
Quincy next.
Let's look at Quincy now. Quincy next across the line. 1.2 seconds improvement. These are dying moments in qualifying. That's 2nd place, and that's not too far away at all. Quincy there will be very happy with that, and with just over 3.5 minutes to go, there's another flying lap to come from Quincy, Herman.
Yeah, I was just briefly looking at sector times, and compared to Energetic's best, that is currently put him into 4th position, there's an 8/10 advantage for Pleasant Snake inside of the 1st sector, and that is 2 straights and 3 low-speed corners back to back to back. So yeah, you can see where Pleasant Snake is going to be banking his performance on for the rest of the race, obviously, and the rest of qualifying. As yeah, you said, Quincy under 10th there. That is surprising, and I'm interested to see if both of them get the timing right, because if one of them doesn't, then 10th is easily achieved with like 3.5 minutes still to go. So yeah, they are going to be trying to position themselves now, and we are looking at more people to complete laps. Moksha is the next to cross the line after the Red Bull of Trucks, I think that was.
Trucks is just going through 7 to 11, so that'd be Toby.
Okay, then that was Toby, and Moksha improves to 3rd position and will be on a cooldown, I assume, and now. And there is a Haas of Salvi next. 2.5 tenths currently up, and then he invalidates it on the inside of turn 17. Or 16, basically. So that was just a small improvement, but he could not complete that. Truckster over the line next. Red Bull was looking strong yesterday, and Truckster goes to provisional pole position by just over a 10th compared to Pleasant Snake, and that is very nice. And there is another challenger in there, and luckily for Truckster, if it stays like this, there won't be any reverse grids anymore from you, so he is safe.
Yes, I was just thinking that as well. If Trickster is to stay on pole position, he will not be done by the reverse grid, as Herman has already said. But at the moment, we're looking at Quincy here, third place as he goes into probably his final lap. Oh no, that was actually 4.7 seconds off his personal best. So Quincy just slowing it down, cooling his tires, and it will go again with under a minute to go. So who is on a fly right now? Of course, Rolly and Moksha came across the line there. Rolly was third place for a brief few moments before Truckster came in and smashed the field with that time. But either way, Truckster also going from strength to strength. He was second last week in qualifying, but couldn't finish on the podium. He had to settle for 6th in the race, so he's hoping for better this week as well. Rolly also on a slow time, but who is on a fast time? I think Moksha has just begun. Here, what will be his final flying lap. 1 minute to go, so this lap is going to mean everything for the Williams driver. Starting tonight in 4th place, 47 points, a 51-point gap for Moksha to overcome if he is to put some bets in the championship, but that is a very long way to go. But at the same time, if you include tonight, there are 7 rounds for potential point scorers, and Pleasant Snake is due a bad round. The worst that he has done is qualify pole and finish 3rd. That was all the way back in round 1. Apart from that, he has 3 wins in a row, so 3 out of the 4 rounds we have taken place in, he has won, and well, all of them have been podiums. Great consistency. But then you look at Quincy, 2nd place for 4 races now. Can he make that one step up tonight? And you have to say he's in a very good position indeed. Moksha is down on his personal best though, so I don't think this is going to mean anything. Qualifying is now over. You have 3 minutes to complete your lap, which is more than enough time. Tarkin Gino, Falco Warrior, Skid Solo, and then Rendog all complete their times, and now it's the rest of the drivers, and well, it's going to be a Red Bull here going, well, across the line, and oh, Moksha has lost it through the final corner, thanks to the Red Bull in front. That's Tabran behind, 5th place. Now there's a Mercedes coming to the line. That is energetic. This is important if he wants to have a bet in this championship. They are pushing so hard through that final corner. It costs energetic lower position. Rolly is now next. Then it's a Ferrari behind. We think that might be Quincy. It is Quincy because ADS has already crossed the line. Rolly goes to 2nd for now. What about Quincy? Next, 3rd place for the Ferrari. What about Pleasant Snake now as Race Chase goes up into 5th? There's another Red Bull there who's going into the pit lane. That will be Truckster. But Pleasant Snake for the 5th time has done it! Oh my goodness me, but what about Demblis? We know he's got the pace. There's an Alpine in front of him. That will be Quan. I don't think he's going to go fast unless if he's on a surprising time, but Demblis, one to look out for certain. Where is he going to qualify? He's going to go through the final corner from 11th to where? It's 7th place. He'll be happy with that. 1.5 seconds away, but Pleasant Snake demolishes the field with a 1:24.59 and demolishes Danger David's time by over half a second from Division 1 last night. What a lap from Pleasant Snake, Herman.
Yeah, I looked at both of the sector times for Quincy and Snake, and I saw 7/10 up after sector 2, and I was like in disbelief. So yeah, I think if anything, Snake is not really on Division 2 pace, or you rather say Division 2 is not on Snake's pace. So incredible what he is currently doing, and yeah, if that's true what I said before about his setup, probably he's gonna be blistering fast on the straights, and I have no idea how that works because it seems so obvious that all of these traction zones should be a disadvantage for what he's currently or probably running in terms of wings. So, but yeah, strong showing also from our returnees. So Devsy and Falco Warrior not rounding out the bottom row is very surprising. So they made some adjustments probably and had some practice because yeah, 15-16 is not too bad for coming back into a very difficult inter qualifying.
Absolutely. Let's go through the official qualifying results. We have Snake, Truxer, Rolly, Quincy, Red Chase in starting at top 5. Then it's Tabran, Demblis, Moksha, and Jetic Salvi in your top 10. Then it's Talcagino, ADS, Red Dog, Red Toby, and Devsy rounding out your top 15. From 16th to 19th is Falco Warrior, Quan, Skid Solo, and Sir Ibo, with Bruiser the only disqualification in qualifying. There you go. That's how you do it. I swear Herman does this on purpose.
May the real Slim Dave please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Blistering pace, just like Pleasant Snake. And blistering segue to this prediction of ours. We're gonna take the time before we head into this very overcast but currently dry race. And we are seeing probably another very interesting fight into what is turn 1. Not the best track for pole position, I would say second to worst next to Imola because you kind of point the wrong way on the start straight in Imola. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to you first to give me your top 5.
Absolutely. Just a message from Energetic, having issues with my stomach. So that's part of the reason why he struggled so much in qualifying and why he starts 8th place. Let me bring up the race director and I'll give it to you. Well, I'm going to say that Pleasant Snake will be finally knocked off the top here. His win streak is going to come to an end. Perhaps not in the best way, but I'm going to say Trugster for the win. And I'm going to say Quincy second for the 5th time in a row. Rowley for 4th, and I'm actually going to say Race Chase will start where, well, we'll finish where he started, 5th place. That's my top 5.
Again, no backing of Energetics, so I'm gonna do this.
Oh.
I'm saying Snake, Quincy. I'm gonna say Energetic. Race Chase 4th. And currently Moksha is doing his very best Kowachka impression, so even if he starts outside or even further down the road, yesterday 13th to 5th, so I'm gonna put Moksha 5th.
Alright, then we'll see what happens. And now we are just waiting for everybody to, we're just in a current break at the moment. I think we'll be underway in a...
Something interesting
go on.
from the Discord I just noticed, Quincy is not in the usual lobby chat, but rather with his teammate ADS down in the voice channels for the team. So that's a new one, I have to say. So maybe that also helped with less of the distraction. It's sometimes very loud in the lobby chat. Like yesterday was quite fine, but we had some very interesting and intense lobby chats before. So voice can obviously be dismised to your concentration and everything. But yeah, I'm interested to see what if this race stays dry, what the people are going to be doing, because I was I was looking forward to what was probably going to be very interesting in terms of strategy. It still was, because some didn't decide to pit under any of these first 2 safety cars we had very early on in the race yesterday. So I'm interested in what kind of execution the winner later is going to be, and what kind of strategy that person is going to be choosing, because anything can be happening. We can see like 3 safety cars, none at all, more rain, no rain, and then you just need to be in the right spots. And obviously turn 1, yeah, you got to defend that lead, and usually we say that P3 is actually the pole position on this one, has been been shown by particularly Max Verstappen in 2021. That was a very brave move to make yourself assertive of your intentions. So looking forward to hopefully good starts from the top 3 to see a very interesting fight into turn 1.
We should be underway any second. We're supposed to be underway at 7:58, which for those of you who don't know, that would be about now with a good watch. As Dembliss saying good luck to everyone. A few chats here first and foremost, that guy and Hessel just saying that, they wish Energetic all the best. Hope it's nothing too serious. That guy predicts Pleasant Snake to win, and he also, that guy also saying hope Energetic has a better race than he did yesterday. Of course, if you are in the chat and you're loving this so far, give us your top 5 predictions. We'll run through how the grid lines up in right now, actually. So we'll get the music underway, and then we will go with the formation lap music. It is Pleasant Snake in pole position here. Everybody but one on medium tires, with Trugster even in 2nd place. Rowley in 3rd place. Quincy in 4th here, needing to go from second, hopefully first, but Pleasant Snake setting a really, really good pace here in qualifying alone. It's Race Chase in 5th, Tabran in 6th, Dembliss 7th, Moksha in 8th place with Energetic 9th, and Salvi rounding out your top 10. Tark and Gino in 11th with ADS 12th, Rendog 13th, Toby in 14th, Devsy and Falco Warrior on their returns 15th and 16th, as Herman alluded to already. Quan in 17th, Skid Solo 18th, 19th is Suribo with Bruiser disqualified for parking in a dangerous location, so here's all the way at the back of the field, but Pleasant Snake leads the 19 drivers behind him through the rest of this lap. Trugster in close proximity. He doesn't want to lose out on any sort of advantage. Maybe just playing a bit of mental games with the driver in front, the Norwegian driver. And we'll see how that goes. But Trugster could be in the best place. Pleasant Snake, of course, well, as we've already alluded to a few times in this broadcast, pole position is not the best place here. It is the longest run from the start-finish straight into turn 1, so the slipstream will be rather effective. Pleasant Snake will need to cover off that inside line for any chance of defending the lead. We have a top 5 prediction here, Herman, from that guy 5110. Pleasant Snake first, Trugster second, Energetic all the way to 3rd, Quincy 4th, and 5th will be Tabran. So there's one to make a note for you. And now Hessel getting involved. Well, I think you can look at the chats yourself, because we're going to be at a countdown at any moment. We're just waiting for Bruiser to come through the final corner of turn 17, and then the countdown, it will be a few moments away. 36 laps here in Mexico will start in a few moments' time. One, two, three, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Mexico. I think that was actually a better start there from Trugster. He should get alongside the Aston Martin before long. And now they're going to go side by side as Toby is already disconnected. That's bad luck for the Red Bull driver. Quincy already up into 3rd. But now Pleasant Snake covers off the inside like we said he would. But Trugster wasn't close enough to go alongside. Bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Red Bull. That brings Quincy what could be 5th place there. There's Tabran already lightning off the start there. But Bliss also gets a good one. He's up into 6th place so far, and he's side by side with the McLaren driver who's squeezing him on the outside, which will then become the inside into the next corner. Toby joins back very quickly indeed, but down to 13th as we start right now. That has there of, I think that was Salvi, decided, oh, there's side by side action between the Red Bull and the Mercedes of 12th place there. But the Haas of Salvi couldn't decide if he wants to visit his alien overlords or not, as Suribo has a moment in the background there for 20th. But otherwise, Pleasant Snake, Trugster, Rowley has now Dead Bliss side by side with Quincy. And that is Tabran now having connection issues. He's now left. And this is chaos as Salvi now down 2 positions as well. A lot of action up and down the field, as always, Herman, in Mexico.
Yeah, that was a very well executed start by Pleasant Snake, and he obviously has now to manage that first detection zone at the midway point through this lap, and they are going to be burning batteries throughout this straight, and Pleasant Snake has used almost 80% of it. Truckster's down to 40, and they got away because of the T-burn disconnect just now, and the group is heading away, and they're going to be looking at a very comfortable lead very soon, and obviously opening up a pit stop gap. I have to say, all of these mediums apart from one made me think that there's gonna be rain imminent soon, because that is usually an indicator, and I think some of these drivers were maybe looking at even starting on the hards, especially from yesterday. So there might be another weather change on this track from yesterday into today.
More than likely, of course. Just for those that weren't there for Division 1 last night, that started out in the wet only for 4 laps, and then that put everybody onto a 2-stop strategy. Some tried the waters. Oh my goodness me, Energetic losing it through turn 7 and has to give up the position. There's been... Oh, Dead Bliss is round! Dead Bliss has gone round somewhere. Maybe trying to overtake Quincy there a bit optimistically, but now there's more battling at the front of the field there. Williams and a Racing Bull side by side. Tabran holding on to fifth place as long as he can dare, but of course he'll be vulnerable. And now Truckster is still with Pleasant Stake at this current moment in time. Can Truckster get a win here? He's half a second as we start going down the start-finish straight. And that's going to go down to 4 tenths, maybe 3 tenths before long. Quincy in the background as well might be setting up an overtake for third place here. He needs that more than anything if he's to get five podiums in a row. Oh my goodness me, race chaser. Tabran make contact there into turn 1, and then Tabran makes contact with Moksha as well. Moksha not having the best of races so far. And oh my goodness me, Tabran legs to Williams, and they both go round there. And now Moksha is forced to try and get it underway. Remember, started in 4th place, 51 points behind the championship leader, and this is now a serious uphill battle for the Williams. That is bad news for Moksha, Herman.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate incident. Sometimes if you have better exits and then someone in front of you has just the tiniest amount of oversteer, you get collected because like your tires touch, or you just basically go into the gap where the side port and the floor is, and then you just collect each other and you can't really get out. And obviously you can't really predict that someone is going to be having an oversteer. So it wasn't really a side-by-side move. Quincy was just going around the outside of Rowley, outside of the stadium section to go onto the straight, and he obviously is burning that ES now because he doesn't have DRS. Both of them don't have DRS, so they must have been side-by-side. That's the only way. Two drivers cannot have DRS because they cancel each other out, and Truckster is still with Pleasant Snake. And judging by the telemetry, there's a juicy amount of extra energy by the Red Bull, 60% to 20, and that is very nice. And obviously Quincy wants to be in that fight for the top 2 right now as they head into what is the next major braking zone on this track, as they're more battling at the back with Falcon going by. Yes, some wing damage, but there's a better exit, and now they've braked out each other. There's just too many with front wing damage that can't really make these turns, and Skid Solo just went by on these two. There's now also Toby goes by on Dambliss, who is still struggling with that probably more worn tire now, as he had that spin earlier inside of that S section, and he also got a 10-second time penalty for a corner cut. So yeah, that is some major work to be that needs to be done inside of the rest of this race.
So that was Tabran round the outside for 13th place of Sergeant Devsey. That was at turn 7 of all places. That was a great move. But look at Truckster now. He's 4 tenths of a second away, approaching the DRS zone down the start finish straight. Surely now Truckster has to do something, but he's saving battery down the straight. You can see that yellow bar on his steering wheel, but look how close he gets into turn 1. He's obviously just trying to make sure he's safe from Quincy. And just speaking of Quincy, he's already checked out from Rowley there, but now ADS has been overtaken by Energetic as well. I'm keeping an eye on that gap to the leader, as Toby also making a move on Quan earlier, but well, a few steps back. But here we go again, looking like the Ferrari got a good exit there on Energetic, but with Energetic having the DRS there, he's going to easily keep that position, and that will be 6th place even, beg your pardon, for Energetic there. But Truckster has not made Pleasant Stake comfortable at all. Great pace from the Red Bull, and can he keep this up throughout the whole race? Remember, he's going to have dirty air because the aerodynamics of the car are not going to be being used, as that Aston Martin is punching a huge hole through the air. So the Red Bull losing aerodynamic performance, especially through 7 through to 11, those corners which they've just passed by now through turn 13. And then it's going to be 14, 15, and 16. But here we go. How close can Truckster get to DRS? I think he's just honestly keeping him at arm's length, just so that he can benefit from it. He's really got away, as we have a caution in Sector 2 for one of the kick salvers. That was a bit dangerous there, as Sergeant Devsey's trying to rejoin. It's brought out a virtual safety car, Herman.
Yeah, that is a very fast call by actually in-game steward. That was very quick, and obviously helps with slowing the pack down in order to make sure that there is no follow-up incidences, and there's a 3-second time penalty now as well. So some jumped the gun and went into the pit lane. I'm not so sure if the rain is actually coming. Seems like a bit of extra light coming through the clouds, so we might see a clear up rather than some weather. So some people are opting for maybe the double hard from rest, which can be achieved. So yeah, actually good time to get in and get some free pit stops, because you get roughly 8 seconds saved here. It's like 21 lost and maybe like 13 inside of the VSC. So Rendog onto New Hearts. There was Skizzolo to mediums. Demblis off that medium tire. This probably was very punctured basically. Diaz is enabled. We are underway again. And also Moksha made his way by now on Devsy and is now in 19th position. But green flag racing is underway, and at the front the gap has stayed the same. No one had the opportunity to get one of the better over the other. So let's see how this commences down the main straight, as this is one of the closest fights inside of the first third of this race.
So, I just kind of wanted to say, let's go through pit stops here, as Race Chase is now, well, Race Chase benefits from Rolly's pit stop. So, Rolly decided to wait till after the VSC, but also he could have been past the line there when it was set. So, a bunch of swaps happening, but of course, energetic ADS Quan on the undercut now to the drivers behind, and good pace from Quan, actually. This is really looking very good indeed. I would also like to clear up one little thing as well, because we saw slow cars down the start for the straight and then they teleported to the pits, so a bit of a glitch there on EA's side. Do apologise there for the confusion, but otherwise, I think it's a total of about 10 cars coming into the pit lane on that first VSC. We had what was it? 2 safety cars last night. Which of course would have helped with tire life. So we'll see if the same thing happens tonight. But Sergeant Devsy, after a spin, bringing out an early VSC, and now we are looking at the battle for the lead. But there are other battles that are close at hand. I hope the audio is okay in chat as well. Well, I hope the audio is okay from the game. I do notice it has been a bit quiet, so I might try and adjust that in a few moments' time. If needed, just let me know if you can. Anybody there, as Dan Bliss has made a move now. But here we go. Truckster, 0.6 of a second. Will he try and go for a move this time around? Battery being deployed this time. So Truckster is a bit more serious, and that's the most I've seen him use down that long straight into turn 1. As Dan Bliss also makes a move on Bruiser. So Dan Bliss is making his way through the field after serving his 10-second penalty in the pit lane for cutting a corner. And at the moment now, Truckster still not close enough to even have a go at the lead again. So Pleasant State doing everything right up until this point. And then again, just gets agonizingly close going into turn 4, but nowhere to go, as he just isn't alongside enough going into the stadium section. But here's what I'm keeping an eye on. Rolly trying to overtake ADS for 10th place, of course, was one of the ones that pitted in. And Falco Warrior for his second track limits penalty. Moksha 0.8 of a second behind him, so he'll be overtaking him in a few moments' time. DRS opening for Rolly, but nowhere to go. So let's see. Moksha should be able to get this done rather academic down the start finish straight. And there we go. That's Moksha into 18th place. Still a long way to move up the field, but a long way to go in this race, Herman. Oh, no.
Oh, there's a spin by Truckster! Out of turn 12 into the stadium section, and he's lost his front wing.
And in unfortunate circumstances like last night, he has now got damage. Now, of course, he tried to retire with more penalties, but in the end, that didn't quite happen. He ended up finishing the race, but now he's going to be really frustrated with himself. Probably just got a bit desperate. We only saw the aftermath when we cut to him there, but we noticed the yellow flag in Sector 3, and now he's going to take an agonizing amount of time in the pit lane. But now, who is where? Is Energetic ahead? Energetic? Well, there's Pleasant Sake just over there, but Energetic is not close enough. Bran is now in the... Well, no, he's not pitted. So, in actual fact, Pleasant Sake, despite not taking the pit stop, is Rolly now down the inside of ADS at last. That's been coming for a little bit, but they're still side by side going into turn 3. I'll come back to my point in just a second, but we need to see the finale of this battle here, which is absolutely going on. ADS trying to get back alongside, but he has no DRS and knows that fight isn't worth having. But again, it seems that everything working for Pleasant Sake, despite being undercut by Energetic, it didn't matter. Pleasant Sake continues to be ahead, but has Energetic maybe got a door... Well, he has a doorstop between him in the form of Tabran, but bad luck for Truckster for the second night in a row. Has had a bit of a collision and now has lost his front wing, needing to take time to replace that. And he is now down to 13th place as of right now, and behind Dem Bliss. And that just goes to show you how far down he has gone. As Energetic, sorry, no, it's Rendog, Assertibo, and Bruiser having a battle there through what is turn number 6 there. And that all gets sorted out. And there's Bruiser very wide there. Might become a doorstop here as now Toby into the pits as well. It's a little benefit from that as now Energetic is up into 5th place there. Herman, disappointment for Drugster, and for the second night in a row, Mexico just not proving to be a good luck charm for the British driver.
Yeah, that is very troublesome to get yeah, that incident from yesterday, and obviously then you have this spin on your own where, yeah, if you there's 2 spins actually at the exit of the last into the last turn by now both Bruiser and Seibo. I just was watching Moksha trying to get by on this group, as now Seibo and his V-Cup has been stricken for some extra time, as Moksha is going for that what is currently 15th place of Rendog. Can he get by on the braking? Yes, he can. Bit older hard tires, but that was as easy as light from someone with the caliber of Moksha. I have to say, the older the tire get, especially at the start, or starting on the medium with the high fuel, yeah, you have to be aware of these curbs, especially inside of the stadium section if you run them too aggressively, and that can happen at the exit because you kind of want to line up the outside, extend it a bit over the curb, and then move to the outside of what is the next left-hand side turn inside of the stadium. And if you go over there too aggressively, then you get problems with your traction. As Quincy is about to take a rollie for 6th position as more pit stop commence with
Snake up second as well, Herman.
Yeah, Snake into second by on Gino, who is still in a fight with Salvi because they haven't pitted yet, so there's a bit of bit of out of position at the moment, and Quincy gets by on rollie, getting that DRS once again on this straight, as there's only one detection zone for this part of the track, and ADS also got by, so great work. Oh no, there was a cutback by Rolly, didn't see that on the camera angle. Outside line for the Williams, stays ahead, ADS goes in again, double right hander, apex of 6, and yeah, Rolly stays ahead for now, but there was some serious pressure for both Ferraris right now to make us, good points up, because ADS did finish the first 3 races, and now he's challenging with the points for the constructors.
Energetic there, despite feeling a bit ill, had to really take some extreme maneuvers there and needed to take avoiding action. Salvi there trying to defend, and Energetic had to swerve all the way to the right-hand side. Pleasant State taking fastest lap, and Energetic now has 4.3 seconds to Pleasant State after battling with the Haas driver. Of course, the Haas driver not afraid to get scrappy, and now there's a battle for 5th place here as the Williams of Rowley is coming back on. That is Quincy there, and Quincy now losing, well, after gaining that position, now losing it. Now we're still waiting for pit stops from Race Chase and Salvi, so those positions will change when ready, but otherwise, Rowley having a good race of his own and has already stopped like Quincy, so he's on the same strategy as Bruiser now gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations, as Debran in the background for 13th place goes alongside Skid Solo, and Skid Solo trying to come back on the McLaren, but nowhere to go in turn 1, and then Debran will of course get that second helping of DRS, as 1 detection point counts for 2 activation zones. But then I don't see Debran activating his DRS, so I don't know if he's read the memo on how the detection points work here in Mexico. And at the moment now, we go back to the battle for 5th, as Salvi is now falling into the crutches of those that have pitted. Of course, Salvi still yet to make a pit stop, as is our current leader, Race Chase, who I think is now just going into the pits. He is, and he'll be on to the hard tyre for the rest of the race. Herman, I just wanted to ask, what would be the strategy coming out from here? Is it a 2-stop, or do you think a 1-stop will be possible, as we see now Salvi as well following in Race Chase's footsteps?
Yeah, Race Chase and Salvi are on the 1-stop I was intending to do yesterday on a completely dry race, so I am generally thinking that around their competition where they would be coming out ahead, because there were so many fights. Like Energetic had the undercut, but then had to fight a lot of people, and the VSC obviously leaves you with some space to the people who didn't pit. You obviously get the fresher tire, the gap is a bit smaller to what is under a pit stop under green flags, but you still need to do the passing, and then you might lose some time. Some of the tire is going to be damaged in the process. So Race Chase is in a very good position, and these other guys still have to pit, and he has now a 7 lap undercut that he can use to his advantage, get by on some of these guys maybe, and just make sure he's managing these tires, and then maybe going or being in 4th position before the final round of pit stops comes, probably midway through the 25. So there's like a five lap pit window in between that is still coming up in a couple of laps time for the guys who already pitted. And then Race just needs to be in a position, no penalties, clinical on exits, and there are opportunities to be held for Selby and Race Chase right now.
Definitely indeed. Let's see what they can do now that they have pitted later. We'll see if their tyres can be the better tyre going towards the end of this race. And of course they will spend, well, they won't be the better tyre at the end of this race, as Herman said. They're going on the one stop. So we'll see if they can hold out that strategy. But otherwise here, one to keep an eye out now is that this battle for second has just hotted up as Moksha makes a move on Skid Solo for 14th place there. So he is past Skid Solo again. I think he probably did that a couple of laps ago. So Skid Solo staying with the Williams driver, at least also I think. But anyway, I could be also imagining things, but don't always take what I say as gospel. But as we are now seeing, I can definitely tell you I'm not dreaming. It is Quincy battling for second place yet again, and it's for the 5th time in a row. If he is trying to finish on second, he's managed to do it. From wherever he qualified. He's done it from 4th, he's done it from 2nd, he's even done it from 8th place, but of course round 3 was the reverse grid, so even better effort there. But for each time he's qualified in 4th place, he has always managed to put it on that second podium spot. And here we go again. Quincy now is going to go down the start-finish straight, open up that DRS at some point or another. There we go as we go aboard with the Sposi driver down the inside, and that is now second place for Quincy for the time being. But he now needs to try and get a gap on Energetic, or can they work together to try and maybe catch up to Pleasant Snake, as he will not have DRS but 8 seconds down the road. 22 laps to go as of right now. There is a very, very long way. Of course, Quincy will get a second helping of DRS, but Energetic starting to drop back here. And now Rolly, will he think about having a go into the next turn? Not quite there. And Energetic is already behind Quincy by over a second. We'll see if that stays consistent up until the next DRS zone. But Quincy now under 8 seconds. But we'll see how that all goes out, of course. That can always even out when we go through the next set of corners. Now, we are also seeing a battle here for 6th place. Den Bliss and Race Chase very close together, but then in the background there is a move for 11th place from Tabran, overtaking Tark and Gino there for that position. Of course, a few more points going towards the McLaren, who started in 6th place, but due to an early spin, which collected Moksha as well, is facing an uphill drive here, but he's doing all right so far. He's just picking places one by one and just being patient here. So a good race coming together from Tabran, and still has 21 laps at the line. But here's one I want to keep an eye on. It is Den Bliss versus the Racing Bulls American driver of Race Chase. Both drivers go from strength to strength in their own respective rights. Of course, Den Bliss new to SSRL, but as Rolly also overtakes for 3rd place in the background, Den Bliss trying to break the slipstream, but it does absolutely nothing. And Race Chase side by side into Telwell with Den Bliss, but the Haas is braver on the brakes. But now the Haas will have to be careful, because the second dosage of DRS will come for the Racing Bulls. Let's see if Race Chase can take advantage of this. There's Trugster catching up to all of this in the background, who's had his own nightmare. Caution in Sector 3 for a spun round McLaren, which is Rendog there, so he's just getting underway in the stadium section again. But back to the battle for 6th place. It is currently still Den Bliss ahead in 6th, and now Trugster's getting involved with this, Herman.
Yeah, it was a good catch so far by Race Chase, but that has cost him now, because they were actually catching ADS ahead. Even Dem is obviously having to set his own pace without the DRS, as he's the lead car in this currently duel. But Truxer is joining them as of right now, because he has opened that gap in the rear wing already inside of that 3rd and newly added DS on, I think, back in 2018 or something, so a while ago. But there is obviously a 3-way fight coming up for this 6th position, but they are stay on a better tire, and they're going to be working towards getting closer to the rest in front. And obviously there's a 3-second time penalty for ADS looming over Race Chase. Oh, they make slight contact on the straight. Incredible scenes for Race Chase. 6th place overtake here on the main straight, as he was so close to having a major contact with Demblis on that main straight right now.
Whoa!
And
Oh, goodness me. Sorry, Herman.
Leaving a lot, so I think he was not happy with that. And there's a lockup by Demblis now, and he almost gets in the way of Truckstar, but can avoid that. So a lot of what happened yesterday to Truckstar was almost repeated by these two. And I think Race Chase also sent a message there with, you don't do this late moves on the straights, because I think that is the only interpretation maybe you can really see here, judging by the angle and how Race Chase was pulling out of the slipstream before he went for that move. So yeah, quite sketchy, but I'm just glad nothing happened. So big sigh of relief, I guess.
Same here, because Demblis has been a bit scrappy in the past, but that, I have to say, was even uncharacteristic from the races that I've seen of his back in the Friday Night League, and that was really on the edge. As you say, big sigh of relief for the fact that there was no more drama there, and even had slight contact with Truckster, who's now within DRS of Race Chase. The two Red Bull sister teams are now going to do battle, and I am very impressed with how Truckster has caught up to the back of Race Chase, being on 4-lap older tyres. But of course, that battle with Demblis will have helped Truckster's case no end. And now these two are both battling as long as they can stay within that 3-second window, as now Demblis has spun again at Sector 1, and Demblis, who was having, a good start to race here in his first one, is now showing frustration as he goes left and right down the straight. DRS open, my guy. You're not going to have all the aerodynamics down that straight, and he is absolutely annoyed with himself. And, well, we'll see how that all comes around. But now there's been another caution. What has happened there is... Who has spun around there? I think that is Bruiser
Rendog and Ibo.
It's Ibo, indeed. Yes, there we go. Thank you very much, Herman. By the way, just an update on the battle for the lead there, because I feel like we haven't spoke about it for a time, and because there hasn't really been anything to talk about, even though I thought Quincy was going to bring that gap down, as Rendog retires in the pit lane, so no intervention required from race control there. But yeah, no, Pleasant Snake has now got that gap to up to 11 seconds. So now the battle for second is primarily between Rowley and Quincy. So this will go to the end of this race. So we are just over the halfway point now. Lap 19 out of 36, 18 laps to go. As Rowley now down the inside for second place, as ADS and Energetic also swap positions. But look who he's bringing along. He's got Truckster, he's got Race Chase. And those two are very close. But it looks like Truckster might have had a bit of a mistake there. He's lost a second there to the sister team. But now Race Chase with a better run than Energetic. Energetic trying to defend there, but may have been also trying to attack. But either way, that's not worked out for the Mercedes driver on those older medium tyres by 7 laps compared to the Racing Bulls. But Energetic holds it for now. Remember, came into tonight's race feeling very ill indeed, and is now at risk of losing a top 5 position. But then again, with ADS's penalty, that could also still go the way of Energetic if he can keep it within. And another caution in Sector 3 for a spun round Sauber that quickly gets underway. So again, no intervention required from virtual race control. But now Race Chase is going to surely try to do battle, because he needs to get that move done ASAP. And Truckster's not far behind either. And Truckster, of course, is trying to make his way up the field. Qualified second place and was oh so close to Snake throughout the most of the first stint. Just one crucial mistake out of one of the turns there just cost him dearly. It was out of turn 12 at around lap 8. But here we go. Race Chase down the inside of Energetic. That's all said and done. But now Truckster also does the exact same thing as Quincy up into second place ahead. But this is an important battle for both the races of the sister Red Bull teams. But the Race Chase and Truckster keep it civil for now. But when the gloves come off a bit later, I am sure that will not be oh so nice when that gets to the wire. But otherwise, they are catching ADS at the rate they need. They are under that 3-second bubble, so both will benefit from his post-race penalty if things are to stay as they are. There's been another moment there, I think, with a car at turn 1, but all of it was sorted out quickly.
Yeah, Targantino.
I see. So yeah, no, that's Targantino now down to 13th after Salvi getting the exit. But otherwise, Race Chase has also caught up here. Pleasant Snake dominating the race again, Herman.
Yeah, there's really nothing to talk about after Truckster lost touch with the lead, and obviously Quincy and Rowley having the private duel again. So yeah, they were quite quickly left in the dust, and that didn't obviously help with anything. Judging by how energetic is running these mediums for 14 laps now, he must have not had the second hard, because that is the second medium of the race. But he has overdone it now. You could have pitted like 4 laps ago and still make it to the end. So he's really stretching that tire and not to his advantage. And you can see that by how much he has already lost to that group who just overtook him basically. Struxter and ADS were briefly next to each other. I think there's a second chance lining up for the Red Bull now. Better exit coming up maybe. Oh yeah, that is very nicely executed. And obviously the double DRS is helping over these first 2 straights inside of this lap as you exit the first 3 turns. And now there's obviously the will for Truckster to get back into it. I think he is aware that his chase later for another hopefully top 5 position will be on newer tires, because he certainly can't keep these till the end. So yeah, race chase on that one stop, looking like he's gonna be in contention for a P3 or better, because Quincy and Snake need to pit, but that gap between race chase and Quincy will probably be 15 after he pits for the final time, and then you will see Quincy's in now, so he has now roughly 15 to make up 15, and that is the most important thing that Quincy needs to keep an eye on. And there are a lot of people maybe still in the way coming up. Another pit stop coming up for Energetic now, finally getting off these mediums, very important. And there's also Rolly now, who is in fight with Quincy. Has he caught him with that undercut? No, he has not. He's very close to him once again in the proximity. Both have Chibra now up ahead, who is currently on 11 old hard tires, so that is certainly another pit stop soon. So let's see who can get it done easily here on the McLaren, as the fired up hards make Rowley look racy so far. So that is obviously maybe an opportunity coming up inside of this lap soon for the Williams reserve driver.
Indeed, and right now, we are also getting... Can we put this into perspective for me? Because 4-lap pressure tires for Race Chase could go chasing down Pleasant Snake, but obviously, as Herman said already, Pleasant Snake needs to make another stop. Race Chase trying to get on those 1 stops, and as Herman said, he could be on for better. So it's really important for Race Chase that actually Quincy spends as much time as he can behind the drivers ahead. We'll need to overtake Dan Bliss. Truckster with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is race. Oh, well, good result over for the Red Bull driver. A really sad state of affairs for him. Has had 2 races in a row, and Herman's reaction kind of sums up his Mexico City nights. Yikes, indeed. As now Quincy to the inside after a brief yellow flag in turn 4. And that is all said and done. And now Rowley is coming in hot on his heels. And that is to Bran, and Rowley nearly making contact there. But now they're going to go side by side through turns 2 and 3. There was light contact there between the 2, and to Bran with a bit of an oversteering moment. Just making a light piece of contact again with the Williams. But nothing really egregious there. That is him through on to Bran, and that is 5th place for the time being, as now we've seen a swap thanks to Truckster. He's now out of the pit lane, but remember, with 10 seconds post-race to serve. But if there's a safety car, that would work out very nicely for Truckster, but let's not tempt fate just yet. Just to give you an idea of how far Skid Solo is far back from his teammate, he has just been lapped by Snake there. So that is the Aston Martin letting another one through, not for position, but for the sake of not impeding the race leader there. So that is kind of the comparison of one Aston Martin to another. And now we are seeing Toby. Well, we're seeing Quad form a train here from 7th place. They are 6.8 seconds to the next car in front. Quincy with the fastest lap of the race. And here we go. Does Dan Bliss be kinder with Quincy, or will he get as scrappy as he was with Race Chase? Just to let you know, Race Chase has brought down that gap, 14.9 seconds. But of course, whoa, goodness me! Quincy's lost it through turn 1! just late on the brakes there, missed his marker altogether, and he's locked up both fronts. He will have DRS again, but that will be a huge disadvantage, and someone's lost it at turn 11 there, or it might have been just allowing traffic through, actually, so never mind, forget what I said. I do apologize, but otherwise, the real moment of drama here is Quincy loses a position to Rowley, and now there is more work to do for the Ferrari driver. Snake still hasn't come in. 13 laps to go at the line, and this is now
that's not second place for Quincy.
Yeah,
like
no, I have to
17
agree.
seconds. That is quite a margin. Also, I didn't know that T-Bran was a Pokemon trainer because he was collecting Williams at the exit of turn 4, it seems. So, yeah, very interesting theme there for T-Bran, as he almost sends another Williams spinning, as Moksha has been a victim of that before. He has recovered to 12th position, but yeah, there's still a couple of positions probably to be found as more people make their way into the pit lane, including Demblis right now, who was on 19-lap-old hard tires. And yeah, that race chase one-stop looks very nice now, as Rowley is in need to claw back 15.8 seconds over the next 12 laps, and that is quite a margin, and there is a need for a hurry up here for the Turkish reserve driver, as it's going to be scoring big for that Williams team, and Quincy is obviously hot on his heels again after that. A very uncharacteristic lockup, was just too close to the guy in front, and yeah, that made him lose extra time, but that is going to be certainly no second place in a row, basically. So yeah, race chase played that very perfectly, and judging by the pace, he's way above the field and what I would assume his opponents were for tonight, because Pleasant Lake is just nowhere to be found, not from this planet, not from our universe, it seems, and he's running away with the championship early doors. And yeah, it's time for promotion, Snake. Make way on Mondays, stop racing on Tuesdays, I say.
I have to agree with that, and I want to see a championship here in Division 2, because it's like, you know, Pleasant Lake has dominated the field for what feels like, well, not what feels like for the 5th week. It is the 5th week in a row here. His only non-win came when he qualified pole back in round 1 and managed third to Energetic, took that win back then. So, you know, Pleasant Lake is already starting to find the time on Race Chase as well, and Race Chase is on younger tyres, so that just shows you how out of this world, or out of this universe, Pleasant Snake is. But at the moment now, as we're seeing a battle between... Oh, no, that's not a battle. That's a kick-out, but they're being lapped by Moksha. Sorry about that.
Rowley!
Rowley?
That was so close to losing his car at the exit of 5. Oh, he's sliding a lot. What is going on with Rowley?
Puncture! I think. Slow puncture, maybe? I saw the car.
For what?
I thought the car.
No, I don't think... No.
I thought there was a puncture there. I'm so sorry to Rowley.
I thought the car is a great quote. We need to add that to your list of quotes.
I thought the car was lower on one side. I was like, that's a puncture, my guy.
Yeah, no. We have no simulation damage for that. Pleasant Lake goes onto his final set of hard tires as he's into the pit lane right now, and Race Chase retakes the lead of this race, but Rowley just had slid out of the 5th and 6th turn respectively a lot, and he was losing a lot of traction, but these tires should be good another at least 10 laps, and we don't even have 10 laps basically left of this race. So I was very surprised to see that by watching him, because it was still in a DRS of Quincy just a moment ago. So yeah, he was maybe pushing that hard as Demblis takes the fastest lap, has just opted for fresh medium tires, as well as Tankangino and T-Bran. T-Bran's just getting that one lap onto his tires, and Salvi has sadly opted away from that one stop, pitted on the same lap as Race Chase, and you can see the difference. 14th to P1. Obviously, Snake is gonna make it inroads very soon with 14 laps of an advantage, and that overall pace he has inside of this race today will guarantee him another position, and obviously that win back, as Demblis is now hot on the heels of Energetic, who is currently holding up quite well and is looking at probably a top 10 finish here, as T-Bran and Moksha are probably going to be closing in as well. Just a couple of laps more to hang it out, but he's under pressure soon from the Haas, from the Williams, and obviously the McLaren that is currently in 10th position. So let's see if and how he can defend that maybe for the rest of the race. As another brief yellow for Bruiser, I think made way there. And yeah, Rowley is about to be back with Quincy, but just outside of the 1 second, and there is some time to be found, hopefully for him, inside of this second sector with all of the S's.
Bliss and Energetic are about to do battle for 7th place here. DRS going to open for the Haas driver this well. If he can find a top 5 finish after all of this. Remember, Truckster with 10 seconds, ADS with 3. And Bliss there to the inside of the Mercedes driver is going to pretty much, if don't see him really making any further moves from this point forward. Despite having 6-lap hard tyres, those fresh mediums will be working for Bliss better than those hards on the Mercedes. So there you go, he is through. Just to remember, give you a reminder, 10 seconds for Truckster, 3 seconds for ADS. So doesn't need to work all that hard. He's already within the window of Truckster, but just needs to find 3.3 more seconds, and then he'll be within the window of ADS as well. And that will be a good recovery for Bliss, all things considered, but maybe something coming his way for those late moves on Race Chase, who is at the moment leading 5 seconds, though, is the difference between the leaders. So 2 battles there going to come at the line, and there's Pleasant State with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:17.8. We'll compare that to the fastest lap in Division 1 when I get the timing boards up at the next possible moment. And here's Rowley with DRS again, but this time outside of the 1 second bubble, so was obviously there at the activation point, which is just on the entry of turn 16 there, but not close enough to have a go into turn 1. And, well, there you go. Pleasant Stake has also got that gap to under 5 seconds, and there's 8 laps to go as we have another caution in Sector 3 for a slow kick Sauber, just allowing lap traffic through. So that's no dramas there, and we will continue racing for the time being there. But imagine a late safety car now. It would really throw things right up, especially for Bliss here, and especially for Rowley and Quincy. That's what they really need right now, and every yellow flag will be, they will be crossing their fingers in the cockpit. But at the moment, things are really coming to a head, and it's a bit tense here, I would say, especially for Race Chase, hoping to get his first ever win in SSRL, but has a really, really fast Pleasant Snake, and he might be hearing the Jaws theme in a few laps' time, maybe a couple laps' time, as Pleasant Snake is hunting him like a shark. But anyway, 7 laps to go at the line, and we are now looking at a 4-second gap to the leader. But here's Rowley trying to battle for 3rd place to the inside, down the straight into turn 1, and that is rather academic. I wonder if these two are swapping DRS as well to try and maybe make up some of that gap. One thing I wanted to point out, Herman, is that when Pleasant Snake came out of the pits, if Quincy didn't have that spin at turn 1 when he was battling Bliss, he would have been right alongside Pleasant Snake, and you've got to imagine Herman, sorry, there would have been that must have been quite the heartbreak for the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, that was one of the major things, obviously not being inside of the DRS inside of the first stint before the pit stop phase, and then obviously this one we saw a couple of laps ago. So yeah, there is a chance Quincy is not even on the podium after finishing second for 4 nights in a row. So there is the opportunity for Rowley, and obviously Race Chase executing that one step perfectly right now. One thing to keep an eye on is that obviously all of these positions that are currently occupied in the front of the Constructors Championship are mostly with Ferrari, because that 4th and 6th position right now, even with the penalties, is looking good for them. And obviously if Quincy can get back into the 1 second, that would be very nice. And he's currently still using that DRS, but yeah, Rowley was pushing him quite hard. So I don't know about you, but before we end this race, I just wanted to say that it kind of feels like a 2019 race. Like, Mercedes was very strong. We barely saw any of the Red Bull, but there were some wins. And then the Ferrari, obviously, with that Monza, Belgium, and also the Singapore win by Sebastian Vettel. So there's like competition from Quincy, but like really is you just chase Snake, and although he's currently chasing someone named Race Chase, he's not actually being chased that much inside of this race. There's not that much pressure. Any of the previous races were much closer. Obviously, we could be looking at maybe every race is going to be won by Snake if he continues like this. Doesn't seem to have any weaknesses. And like I said in quali, if he did these qualifying laps on the wings, I'm thinking he did, which was likely indicated by the sector time 1, then it's incredible that he kept the tires good, that he managed to do these lap times on the side of quali.
Sorry to go over you here, Herman, because we're about to see Pleasant Snake take the lead again of the Mexico Grand Prix. Of course, that has been coming for a few laps now, and now the inevitable is confirmed. Pleasant Snake now is in the lead. I was just going to say as well, Herman, that, you know, I'm actually kind of glad he's not in Division 1. We've got an excellent championship cooking up between you, Bavish, and I'm trying to remember the third driver off the top of my head there. Thank you very much, Bavish. And, well, that's becoming a very exciting thing, so I'm actually kind of glad he's dominating Division 1, Division 2, to be honest with you, because I think that would maybe take away from the championship a little bit, because he's, like, just to kind of give you an idea of his pace for those that watch Division 2 over Division 1, he's knocking out the pace there, Herman, isn't he?
Yeah, he has been, like, obviously that Kota race from 1 week ago was, like, his first impression, or basically his he showed up there, could race there. He was inside of the top 3 for most of the race, did very well. So yeah, there is no question of Snake's ability to be good and competitive in D1, but he just can't make Mondays. So yeah, he just takes wins here and fastest laps, as he's already left race chase by 3.2 seconds within a lap. So incredible pace, and he's going to be taking the victory very, very soon.
Here we go. We've got a battle for third place here again. Quincy has caught back up to the DRS of the Williams of Rowley. Was probably just setting things up, or probably just to charge some battery. Has got I would say a fourth of his juice still in the battery. But otherwise, Rowley is probably coming up with his own defensive moves. Just to give you a little bit of an update as well for the battle for fifth place, that's looking like it's going to ADS, as Den Bliss is already falling away, and he's currently locked into a battle with Energetic for seventh place. But at the moment, Energetic wasn't close enough there. And of course, in case you haven't been here earlier and you may have joined us not too long ago, Energetic battling a rather bad stomach at the moment. So you got to say this top 10 result is going very well, as Den Bliss there goes to the middle of the road, not really giving Energetic room on either side of the track there. But I don't think that was probably on the edge of defense again. But like I've said, he has been. That's the kind of scrappiness I'm used to seeing from Den Bliss from the other league that he races in. And we'll see if he can hold on to that 7th place. Remember, on medium tyres, 3 laps fresher, but that crossover point between the mediums and the hards has been reached. So Den Bliss with a lot of work to do for the final 3 laps once he gets to the start-finish line. But now we cut back to this battle for third, because Quincy is the closest he's been, and now he is going to take third place away from the Williams, academically so. And of course, thanks to the detection point counting for 2 activation points, he will get that again on the exit of turn 3. Now back to this battle for 7th place, beg your pardon. And now we are seeing Den Bliss go defensive again. Is he going to be as late of a defense as he was with Race Chase? We would hope not, for our own little sake. Of course, no safety car will be deployed, but now that's Energetic to the outside. Well, Den Bliss covers the inside line, but Den Bliss has a moment through the corner there, but that keeps Energetic behind for now. But look at how close Energetic is. Look at the exit he gets. DRS open for the Mercedes again. Den Bliss to the inside, and Den Bliss nowhere near as aggressive with Energetic as he was with Race Chase, but he's going to be there as they go to the inside. He nearly forced off the track, but that is Energetic into 7th place, and that move is all said and done. But also, someone I want to shout out, look at Quincy, 4.4 seconds to Race Chase, so that battle is not over yet. That's 2 seconds in 1 lap, so in actual fact, we are going to probably be seeing, on the penultimate lap, a potential battle for 2nd place, Herman.
Yeah, it would be quite a feat by Quincy coming back from that spin early on, but yeah, I think Race Chase, you still need to be within that DRS on the main straight on this next lap, so I'm not seeing how he's calling back for 4 seconds, other than maybe the traffic getting in the way, but that seems to be going out of the way nicely. I think there was Takangino even getting by in Race Chase with DRS because he was on fresher tires, that is maybe. So yeah, he went for that soft just 2 laps ago. So yeah, maybe even DRS coming his way for race chase instead of that second sector. No, he's too far away already. So yeah, that would be quite a feat by Quincy. But we have seen stranger things before, but nothing too strange rather than a snake victory for tonight. And he is about to start the final lap as we wait and see who is going to be in the podium and in what order. And only just a couple of moments time. Race just going wide there at the entry of stadium. So maybe another warning collected. That could be also the deal breaker here. Just keep it on the black stuff. 3.4 seconds to go. And there's the final lap coming up for the V-Cup driver. Has executed this so well so far. And I think he would be looking at a season best finish of second place. And yeah, that Quincy and Rowley train is coming along nicely as of right now. And there's gonna be some tension now. Next opportunity, turn 4 for Rowley. He has the DS, he has some battery. He's chased down by the Red Bull of Toby, I think that is. Just pitted for fresh soft tires. Can't get the move done. And has to stay back for now. 2.4 seconds between Quincy and Race Chase. He is holding on right now. Just make sure you stay within the white lines inside of this next section. And Dave, I think we should be going to the leader now.
Absolutely. Pleasant Snake now is coming through turn 12, and well, he wants to be the very best, like Andy always was in Division 1, but for now, it is going to be 4 wins in a row. Pleasant Snake puts one hand on the championship. We're not even halfway through the season yet as he wins in Mexico. But who holds on to second place? Is it going to be Race Chase? It looks like it is, but it was oh so close at 1.2 seconds through turn 17. But it's under a tenth, well, under a second even, beg your pardon, to third place from fourth. Quincy will be on the podium for the 5th race in a row. And, well, Drugster in the end will come home 5th place. But with that 10-second penalty, where does he finish? Not be, well, behind ADS, but whereabouts as Energetic will be ahead of Drugster there. But then Bliss falling all the way back there. Nearly 11 seconds as there's the Williams of Moksha having another moment through the final corner as he comes home in 9th place after being collected by Tabran, who finishes behind him after all of that. In 10th there, and Quan will be next across the line. Salvi behind him there, and of course Quan serving a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So Quan will lose out to Salvi if things stay as they are right now, which I do think they will. And Salvi may be struggling with his connection a little bit. Can't decide if he wants to visit his alien overlords or not. Salvi now to the line, and the rest have come across the line as they were a lap down. So just to give you an idea, that's Salvi into 11th. That is Tarkangino 13th, Toby 14th, 15th, Skid Solo, Falcon Warriors 16th, Sergeant Devsey, Cerebro and Bruiser, rounding out the rest of the 19 drivers that were able to finish in the Mexico City Grand Prix. And what a great couple of races there. But otherwise, I think a very satisfying couple of races here from SSRL. And there's Pleasant Snake beginning podium celebrations. Herman will, of course, take over to do interviews with the top 3 in just a few moments' time. But let's enjoy the podium celebrations here. Pleasant Snake again getting hit getting one hand on that title very early on. Quincy unable to continue his streak of second place wins, but his podiums will still be 5 in a row. But coming into the halfway point now, it is a massive mountain to catch Pleasant Snake here. Of course, those two were rivals in Season 6, but in Season 7, it seems like Snake is best of the rest. We already know your race winner, who also took fastest lap. Driver of the day goes to ADS in the game. Most overtakes from Tabran, and cleanest driver, Race Chase. No real surprise there, and a great result for Race Chase as well, as he finished second, with Quincy rounding out the top 3. 4th and 5th, respectively, is Rolly and ADS, with 6th to 10th being Energetic, Drugster, Dembliss, Moksha and Tabran. 11th to 15th being Salvi, Quan, Tarkangino, Toby and Skid Solo. 16th to 20th is Falcon Warrior, Sergeant Devsey, Sir Ibo, Bruiser and Rendog. And Rendog was the only one to fail to finish as he retired in the pit lane. And apparently, Herman's message got deleted. I completely missed that. So if you want to post that
Yeah,
again,
I think you got it confused there, but you can look at that for yourself now.
hang on, I can
So
permit
wait.
you, and then I can sort of talk for a little bit. But as we've already kind of assessed here, Pleasant Snake really setting the tone, and Race Chase with another podium. It's, oh my goodness me, like, great race from Race Chase, and then of course Quincy getting his 5th podium in a row.
Shout out to ADS as well. Not finishing 3 times in a row. Top 5 finish now. Very well executed. Big points for Ferrari in the constructors because Skid Solo has completed the race and was obviously had some. I think there were even an incident he was involved. He only gets 1 point. There is an extra point for Pleasant Snake taking the fastest lap. But obviously, if you can't take like a 10th place or maybe a 7th or at some races when it's very chaotic, you're not going to be holding down the constructors championship on your own, even with 3 missed finishes by ADS. So very, very well done, and I think he's on to greater things hopefully, and that is a very nice finish for the second Ferrari driver.
Let's also give a shout out to Energetic, who, of course, is battling an issue with his stomach and got P6 there. And also that guy also following with the same sentiment as well in the chat. Energetic, we hope you get better soon, but otherwise, a great drive from him to finish P6. We have our top 3 in the comms box. Herman, it's over to you for the interviews.
Yeah, thank you very much. That has been our 5th race of the season, and we obviously need to hear from the guy who has won 4 of it once again. Yeah, Pleasant Snake, I think there was a sentiment of very different things regarding your background on how to beat you on your current performance. I don't know what it takes to beat you, but I'm certainly interested to continue to see what it maybe takes for you to win any more or even all of the remaining races inside of the season, because you seem to be on another planet, even inside of another universe. Very well managed. As soon as Traxxer lost the car, you were just nowhere to be seen, untouched basically, and obviously the tire advantage at the end. Let's be honest, there wasn't any worry to be seen that race chase maybe get a sneak away win here. So how do you assess your race, and obviously how do you see that race overall planning out for you here today?
Yeah, overall, of course, the race was it went well. It was good, but I must admit it was a bit more fun in the start when before Drugster had his spin than after. But it was yeah, I had a clean start and was just like the first stint there. I was just trying to like save ERS where I could, and so I used it on the straights so he couldn't pass, and just like rather have him stay behind there. And unfortunately, he had a spin, and yeah, I'm not sure if it was like hot in this session or something, but the rear medium tires were like I have never overheated them as much, and I'm not sure if it was the same case with Drugster and he had a spin as well. So yeah, but yeah, rest of the race was kind of just like put on you hard and stay out for a while until I was thinking like maybe it's a safety car or something, but it didn't come. So I was like just looking at how far it was back. So I would at least pit and come out of in front of Quincy and Rowley and those guys. So yeah, after that I just tried to push for a fast lap and yeah, just cruised in after that kind of. And
Yeah,
also,
your fastest lap
yeah.
is roughly 8 tenths faster than the next fastest guy, so that is obviously once again a statement also that qualifying lap. I have no idea how you managed to do these laps with especially that low wing. Judging by your first sector, you must have been flying on these wings. So yeah, I think there's only one thing to say going next. We have 1 week's break into Interlagos. How was the track? I think that suited you before. How do you feel if you have already raced it? Your chances are there. Obviously, I'm just gonna be asked if there's any track major disadvantage for you, because you seem to be on another level, and we are currently looking for these maybe loopholes to be explored by other people to stop you from winning any more races soon. So how do you see your chances going into Brazil?
Brazil, it's a while since I've driven there, but it's one of my used to be at least one of my strong tracks. So, but as I found out, Mexico and Kota is also on this year's game. It's somewhere I have speed. So, and then it's what is it? It's Imola after that. I think that's I've driven it quite a bit at least. Not raced there, I think, but yeah. And then Vegas and Miami is gonna be my what can I say, weak tracks. Cause yeah, but yeah, both Imola, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi I quite enjoy, and also Brazil. So yeah, we will see how it goes.
All right, yeah, then we will take this extra week to get a bit of a cool down on what is currently a very dominant season from you, and obviously speak to you next time in 2 weeks' time for Brazil. Take care and congrats again on P1 for tonight.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to V-Carb, and today someone showed how I would hopefully seen in a completely dry race yesterday play out the one-stop strategy well executed by your race chairs. You take your season best finish in second place for tonight. How do you feel after this one? And were you sweating a lot on the last couple of laps when Quincy and Rolly were closing in?
Yeah, I knew they would close in. Those tires were giving away pretty good. Yeah, I had a few incidents during that race, especially in the first stint with a couple of guys. I'm gonna have to review that, but I lost a lot of time actually. I feel, and I think I would have been quite a bit farther ahead of Pleasant when he came out of the pits that last time, and I could have been a little bit closer. Most likely, he would have got me, but I could have made it a little bit more interesting, and I'm a little bummed out about that. I had another incident where I don't know what it is with people wanting to run into people on the straightaway. I'm gonna have to deal with that too. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I didn't expect to get P2, and I knew I would have to do something different with those guys being quite a bit quicker than me. So that's what I went with.
Yeah, that is obviously something you have to look into. This is why I also thought there was a good chance of people trying to execute the one stop, because traffic and staying within that dirty air inside of the second sector is not something you want to be doing. Yeah, there was an incident you briefly touched it about on the straight. Demblis, our newest racer against you, it seemed like you were also with your car language very much unhappy. How do you see this from your side? There was a bit of a weird camera angle as we approached that moment. So can you just give us a rerun of how you saw that moment?
Well, how I saw it, I mean, like I said, I got to look at it, and I'm not pointing fingers, but so the lap before that incident, he was, going back and forth from side to side on the track. And I was relatively close to him. And yeah, you're just not supposed to do that. You get one move, and that's it. And then the next lap we came around, and he was doing the same thing. And then I had a little bit better run on him, and it seemed like I was like more toward the middle to right side of the track. And it seemed like he turned into me, but I got to watch it. And yeah, I just think people, not saying he did it that way, but when you make contact with somebody on the straight, you can really slow their momentum down, and it's a tactic that people use. And I'm not going to deal with that kind of shit. So yeah, I'll look at it, and hopefully me and him can just shake hands and regroup and move on.
All right. There's obviously now a big jump for you in the constructors and in the drivers championship as well. It seems like Snake is kind of eking out the rest of the field, so we might have a very packed best of the rest fight basically with the current top 5 basically. Do you see any major chances or even higher chances for you taking another podium maybe in Brazil in 2 weeks' time?
Definitely. I feel like I have good race pace. I'm not always like up there on the qualifying, but I put in decent, consistent laps, and I think that pays off. For me to get a win is pretty difficult, but I think you know, top 5, maybe a top 3 here and there is possible for me. And you know, I just try and improve, race fair, and that's it, man. I mean, I'm here to have a good time. And as far as Snake goes, I mean, the guy's on another level. I don't think I can, unless he has a major incident or something. I see him pretty much doing what he's doing right now. So, you know, congrats to him. But yeah.
All right, looking forward to what you can produce in Brazil in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for taking my questions, and obviously, congrats on second place for tonight again.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too. Third place, and not second this time, is the Ferrari driver of Quincy. You have missed your 5 in a row, and obviously that's one off on the bingo card. You had a great fight with Rowley. There was a lockup in between. Also, there was maybe an opportunity to be close to Snake before that. And obviously that start obviously made a lot of things in a race not come your way. How do you assess your race just briefly after we finished it?
I'm happy to at least come in a different position than just second, so at least it switches it up a little bit. No, I had a fantastic race. It was a really enjoyable race. I was going back and forth with Rowley, really incredible racer, really incredible side-by-side battles as well. No funny business, so it's always good to enjoy those type of races rather than be on your own for most of what the season's been. I've been trying to chase Snake, and I'm usually on my own with 5 seconds in front of him, behind him, and 5 seconds in front of somebody else. So it was nice to actually have a battle with somebody and have some good times on track. Couple of issues with lockups into turn 1 and into turn 4 that really cost me. I probably could have caught up to Race Chase. I think I was like 9/10 off him in the final lap. But you live and you learn those mistakes. I didn't really have a lot of time to practice because I was away this week for work. So that I definitely suffered. But it was good. I really enjoyed the race. Happy with the position. Could have been better, but I will take B3.
Yeah, there was obviously a bit of a private discussion going on after yesterday's observant role you basically took watching that race. Major thing maybe you differed from in terms of maybe some practice you had in between before going off to that work trip, or something major discussed yesterday between us? What was your run plan in terms of strategy? And obviously setup is also very interesting.
So setup wise, I practiced all weekend with a very low setup compared to the one I ran today. I think I was double the wing on the front than I was on the weekend practice, and that was due to just being able to take the corners more aggressively, hop the curbs a little bit more aggressively, which in turn sort of kept me in the fight, but still have a lowish downforce that I can actually not suffer too much on the straight. I noticed as well when I was practicing with the low wings, the tires kind of went off a little bit quicker. So for tire wear, I know you discussed with me as well, for tire wear, the higher wing. So I decided to go that way today. Tires were still a little bit bad in my opinion, especially the medium. And once I saw Truckster spin, I knew it was time to go in. I was struggling anyway, so I knew it was time to go in and get a new set of tires. I could have probably taken it another lap, I'd say, but I thought there's no point in trying to risk it. And then because I didn't, from the tire wear that I was getting, I didn't foresee a one stop could actually work because I didn't really have the clean air needed to protect and take care of my tires. I was always fighting somebody. So the 2-stop had to do it. Don't regret it really. Just regret maybe making those little bit of mistakes with the lockups that probably cost me P2.
I was certainly still on offer, and especially with the probably degrading tire from race chase was still an option. Obviously there was a major factor, or maybe something in terms of good news for you. That was obviously your teammate today, 5th position. You guys have obviously made a huge jump with in the Constructors Championship. Is that maybe now more towards your focus now? I'm not saying that it's over, but like 4 wins in a row for Snake on this pace is very impressive. And there's probably gonna be a mountain to climb for you to come back. And like you heard, Miami and Vegas are not as strong tracks, but it's only like 2 left of 7. So what is your current plan heading into what will be an extra week of break before we head into Brazil?
I'm going to hit the practice. Brazil's not really one of my strong tracks, as I found out last week when I raced it. It's actually a terrible track for me on this game for some reason. So I'm going to be hitting the lab, hitting the practice, more than likely probably with Truckster and Snake and some other guys, yourself included, so that I can have an advantage. All I got to do is hope that Snake DNFs, because I'm 24 points behind. Of course, I don't wish anything bad on my buddy, but I'm 24 points behind. I'm probably going to end up finishing P2 in this championship. But to be honest, mate, it's well deserved. Pleasant Snake is on form. He's got 4 poles, 4 fastest laps. He could have had a grand slam today if things went his way. But you know, he's been on top form and he deserves it. He's putting the work in, he's putting the practice in, and obviously that's paying off. I obviously got a very lucky season championship last season, so I will take that to the grave, and I will be happy about that. But I'm happy to see him back to where I knew he could be. In regards to your constructors question, we are 14 points behind. P5 definitely helps our case, and hopefully we can get Alex up a bit further. And if I can keep with Snake, hopefully the gap doesn't sort of increase much more. We went to a private voice chat today, the Ferrari voice chat, and I think that helped because we were constantly talking and giving feedbacks on tires and whatnot, and what lap to pit, etc. And he really got a good result today, so really proud of him.
Yeah, that's obviously a positive sign. I'm looking forward to see more if possible. Obviously, with a bit of hindsight, we will know more about how that Brazil race obviously went in 2 weeks' time. And thank you very much for taking my questions, and congrats again on P3 for tonight.
Thank you, Herman.
Yeah, Dave, I've just looked at the predictions also from the chat, and I think we didn't do that well, but I have to give the win to you today. 5 points over the rest with 4, 3, and 3. So, yeah, thank you everyone for participating. But that was quite some race where we didn't exactly see the outcome that clearly. So we will have to get some homework done before Brazil, maybe next time. Any final thoughts from you? I think that was quite the statement, obviously, from Snake, even less closer than the previous races we had. And there was still good fights. It was very interesting in terms of strategy. We discussed that before. Hats off again to Race Chase for pulling on that one stopper. And yeah, more interesting fights in the Constructors, and also up the order for what I would right now call the best of the rest behind Snake. It's going to come up for Brazil. What is your final takeaway?
Well, pretty much similar to you. Pleasant Snake really continuing to set his tone with the rest of the season. I don't really see it changing, to be honest with you. I think we are probably going to see a forced promotion to Division 1 before the end of the season, but I think Quincy will let the championship play out before that.
Nah, that's not happening. Sorry to cut you, Dave. He won't be promoted. Due to his schedule, he will be staying in Division 2. We're going to have to get better, that's all.
Well, okay then. Well, you heard it here first. No promotion incoming at all for Pleasant Snake due to his schedule, which has been reiterated before on the broadcast, but now we have it from, well, at least 2 out of the 2 admins there, so no promotion coming in. So Pleasant Snake more than likely on charge to take the championship before the end of the season, dare I would say. We'll see when. It's probably a question not of if, but of when. So we'll see how that all goes out. But a few drivers at the back going from strength to strength. You know, Herman, you said ADS. Also Race Chase as well. Second place for him on a one-stop strategy, which nearly didn't pay off, but he luckily had just enough of a gap. And if it wasn't for that spin from Quincy, maybe, just maybe, he would have got that second. But either way, unfortunately, he had to deal with being third best for tonight. But still, for Quincy, that's 5 podiums in 5 rounds. And I think that is just the consistency that Quincy needs for the time being. But otherwise, Herman, that is really my sign-offs. Any last things you want to say before we go?
No, I'm looking forward to a week's break and then see if other people maybe put some time in and get a good result on the board for Brazil. Could be another interesting one coming up for us, and especially forward one-shot qualifying is going to be on the schedule, and as well as maybe some rain in Interlagos, as is quite common to see some weather changes in there as well. So yeah, just looking forward to a great track and hopefully great racing again for Division 2.
Well, everybody, enjoy your week's break, Herman. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Otherwise, yeah, no, let's all enjoy a break. So I've just got the calendar up on stream. We'll be back in 2 weeks in Brazil between November the 10th to the 11th for both Division 1 and Division 2. Herman, as always, thank you oh so much for being a great co-commentator and handing us your insights from race to race. It's always welcomed, especially from Division 1. And again, congratulations on that win yesterday.
Thank you, and see you in 2 weeks. Good
In
night.
2 weeks, everybody. Bye-bye. And with that, as well, as you've heard, we are now on a break. So when we return, it will be a full one-shot quali. What do I mean by that exactly? What I mean is that you take the 2005 rules and put them into 2025. So you only have 5 minutes from the start of the session. So no matter how long the session is, whether that's 18 minutes, 15 minutes, or even 12, you must have a flying lap set within those 5 minutes. If you are on a flying lap and you haven't completed it within those 5 minutes, you are disqualified from the you are disqualified. So unfortunately for you, you must have you must complete one lap within 5 minutes of the session starting. But of course, we have the full qualifying, which will be as normal when we go to Miami in about just a month and a half's time. There we go. Got there eventually. But otherwise, that's really all from us. So that was Division 1 and Division 2 in Mexico. Division 1, it's all to play for between Herman Bavish and somebody else I can't think of right now, unfortunately. So it's Herman Bavish, and who else is the other one? Rush the Series, there we go. But at the moment in Division 2, it is very much Pleasant Snake making his way towards the championship. From wherever you may be in the world, we do wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time in Brazil for our special one-shot full qualifying. Until then, bye for now.